going. All right, you guys. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So we're going to go ahead and start with some belly work, actually. So you're going to take your Pilates ball. It's going to be on your lower belly. So right up, lower belly button, a portion of it will be on your pubic bone. So go ahead and find a position here that's okay for you. And if it is too much, of course, you can let some air out of your ball. If it's still too much, maybe you try a pillow or a bolster or something else instead. You can stay up on your forearms. You can relax your forehead down, whatever works best for you. And then once you get yourself settled in here, just go ahead and close your eyes and start to focus in on your breath. So again, that ball is really quite low. A portion of it is on my pubic bone, a little bit of it crossing my belly button area. And then as I take a deep breath in, I'll feel my belly press against that ball or pillow or bolster, whatever you're using. And then exhale, hold the breath out so you can feel that ball sinking into your belly. And continue to breathe like that as deeply as you can. Try to send that breath all the way down to where you feel the ball underneath you. Maybe a pause at the top. And then it's a slow exhale. And you continue to breathe like that. So the reason, as uncomfortable as it might be, and I get that, I mean, you've got a ball smashing your belly. As uncomfortable as it might be, this is really, really important work for so many reasons. One of the biggest reasons is because keeping your gut, your belly tissue healthy will help you stay overall healthier. A lot of your lymph lives in your gut. And if it is stagnant because of stuck tissue, your lymph system cannot do its job. And that means you cannot fight off disease as well. So again, as uncomfortable as it might be, maybe you embrace the fact that it's doing something really amazing for you. And then maybe that'll allow you to soften and even start to like it a little bit. Maybe. So if you're on a ball, this will work. If you're on a bolster, it won't work as well, but you're going to start to just shift your hips right to left a little bit. So the ball will travel side to side. So we get stuck tissue in our belly area for so many reasons. When we're in a stressed state, of course, we start to like hunch and lock and protect our organs, our bodies. That's our natural response. If we're injured or we're stressed, our body kind of just hunches and rounds forward, which will shorten up and tighten up all that gut tissue, the belly, stomach tissue, the fascia, and the muscles and everything in there. So by releasing this, it allows our body to come into a more relaxed state so we can start to heal. All right, so let's go to move the ball up a bit. So more towards the middle belly. Maybe even a portion of it is tucked underneath that rib cage. And again, maybe you stay on your forearms. Maybe you relax your body down, your choice. And we just start with those breaths again. Deep inhales, perhaps a pause, and then a long exhale. And when you come to empty, hold the breath out for a moment so you can really feel that ball sinking in to your body. Other reasons you might end up with stuck tissue in this area. If you do a lot of core work, really good for you, great support for your spine, great overall support for your whole body. But Also, if you're not doing the work to release and soften your abdominal tissue, it can get too locked up. So doing core work is fantastic, but you can do it too much, believe it or not. And or, you just need to also do the recovery work. So even if you decide to do core work every day, as long as you're not hurting yourself, you could do it almost every day or every day if your body is responding well. But you also have to do this work. So it doesn't just get tight, it's also still pliable and mobile. Start to move those hips side to side a little bit. The ball will travel back and forth. Again, if you have a ball, this will work. It doesn't work quite as well on a pillow or a bolster, but do what you can. So gut health, so important for our overall health. Probably most of you at this point have heard the gut-brain connection, or that your gut is a second brain. So if you have stuck tissue in here or your gut is not functioning well, you could be foggy brained. It can make it so that you are not able to concentrate as well. So keeping this area healthy, super, super important. And then physically, it will help your lower back stay happier because your hip flexors are in here. They actually go from the top of your leg at the very top of your quadricep area, front of the thigh, go all the way through that hip and connect through the torso area into the spine, all the way up here where your rib cage is. So if you have your hip flexors locked up, you're gonna have lower back pain most likely. All right, so let's go ahead and come off of the ball. You can set it off to the side. You can either come back into a child's pose if that works for you and your body. If that does not work in your knees, try just rounding your spine like a cat. So we're going to come into a bit of flexion. So your choice, either hips towards heels and feeling a nice stretch through the back, or a cat posture. You could even press into those hands a little bit to get a little bit more rounding through that lower back. You can move your hips side to side. It's going to get a little bit more on each side of the lower back. That's true whether you're in the cat posture or you're in the child's pose. I like to do a little bit of movement. That feels good for me. If it doesn't feel good for you, you just stay still. I'm going to take 3 more breaths, moving or in stillness, your choice. And 1 more big breath in and out. All right, good. So we're going to stay on our hands and our knees. And we're going to do a little movement into the shoulders. So you pick a hand, one hand right underneath your nose, and the other hand, you're going to make a fist. And you're going to make big circles. Try to keep the arm as close to your body as possible. And that's going to look different for everyone. So for some of you, you're going to be right next to your ear and right next to your hip. For some of you, you're going to be out here. So you do what works for you. You want to feel it, but you don't want to be causing anything that looks like stress or pain. And let's go the other direction. Circling it around nice and slow. And then switch sides. Other hand underneath your nose, make a fist and circles. 3 or 4 one way, and then 3 or 4 the other way. Good. All right. So you're going back to the first side. And if you need a moment off your knees, just come off your knees and then come back to it. Hand on shoulder. This will feel a little different. Circling around. Maybe it's just your thumb on your shoulder or a finger or two, but the elbow is bent. Will feel a little different. And then back the other direction. And second side, hand on shoulder or fingers on shoulder. Circle, circle. And we'll go the other way. And relax. All right. Okay, so we are going to get up now and find our way to the wall. You'll need one block and one yoga tune-up ball. So we're going to be releasing the tissue right underneath the right collarbone first. Most of you are familiar with this. We're going to be using your block, and the ball goes underneath that collarbone. So go ahead and find that position under the right collarbone, right underneath it. Hold your block with your left hand, and the right arm is going to start to move kind of like a snow angel. Now, if you don't happen to have a block today, you can just use your ball and do some rolling in this area. But if you do, then go ahead and find this position, moving the arm. Again, like a snow angel is one option. If that is not working for you, you could just do some circles down here at the bottom. You could just take your arm out to whatever degree it will go out. You could go palm up. You could go palm down. It does change the experience depending on the palm up or palm down. And then holding that block with two hands, and you're going to move back and forth. So the ball is going to travel side to side like this across the collarbone or right underneath it. Just a couple more times, side to side. All right, so we're going to set the block and the ball down, and we'll use our wall for a chest stretch. So the arm can be straight, it can be bent. You decide what feels best for you. Stay as close to the wall as you can. It's the right arm back there, and you'll start to turn to the left. Drop your shoulder blade down your back. So you don't want that shoulder rolling forward. You definitely want that to be pulling back. So you're stretching into the chest and shoulder and not mostly in here. We want to avoid it all being right in the front of the shoulder. That will happen if that shoulder's rolling forward. So drop the shoulder blade down, mostly the chest, maybe a little bit in the front of the shoulder, but again, mostly the chest. Avoid it being in the back. If it is, you might need to change the angle of the arm. So we'll stay here for another 30 seconds. So that's about 5 big breaths. All right, so we'll come out of that and we're going to go to our second side. So ball and block, if you have a block, and then we go to that place right underneath the collarbone. Hold your block with your right hand. The left arm starts to move. So, if you don't have a block or a wall space, your modification is just to press that ball against you, move it around, make some circles, just covering that whole chest area. If you're doing the arm movements, remember, like a snow angel is one option, dangling the arms, circles. You could go palm up and down, maybe straight out to the side. You could also absolutely just find a spot where it makes sense to just be still and breathe. So if you find a spot that seems really sticky, maybe you just stay. And then maybe you move it. Couple more breaths here, and then we'll start to move side to side. So holding that block with two hands, and the ball will travel back and forth across the chest, right below that collarbone, and just on the left side of your body. All right, so setting the block and the ball down. We'll do our chest stretch on our second side. So drop that shoulder blade down your back. Maybe the arm is straight, maybe it's bent. Check in to make sure it's mostly the chest, not all just the front of the shoulder. And you'll be able to make that happen just by really focusing on dropping that shoulder blade down your back, and or maybe adjusting the angle of this left arm behind you. Maybe it needs to be higher or lower, or maybe bent or more straight. So you figure out what works for you. It's going to be different for everyone. Keep breathing, keep checking in, and make sure what you're feeling is what you want to be feeling. It's a great opportunity to check in, feel our bodies. Couple more big breaths. Okay, we'll come out of that, and we're going to take our single yoga tune-up ball again. You don't need the block for this one. We're going to be putting it on the shoulder now. So we are intentionally getting into the shoulder. So not at the very top, but maybe part way down your arm. So not way up here, but on the bulk of that shoulder. And then we'll lean in. And then the right arm, so it's my right shoulder that I'm working with, the right arm lifts up and down. So all those different arm positions, palm up, palm down, palm can face the wall, palm can face forward, thumb towards ceiling. And again, you can just move through all of those different variations of arm position, internal, external rotation. Couple more times like that. And then we're going to move maybe side to side so the arm will stay still. If you want to even support your arm with the other one, you can. So maybe you're supporting that arm or not. It's really up to you. If you don't need the support, you don't have to. You can make some circles. You could go up and down, side to side. Again, as always, you could just pin that ball. If you find a place that really needs attention, you could just pin that ball and simply breathe. So sometimes movement is what we need. Sometimes stillness is what you need. And if you really tune in, you are going to know. Before we go to our second side, we're going to find one more place. So sliding that ball to the back side of the armpit. So you can find your armpit and then slide it to the back. So it is on the back of our body, but right behind that armpit. Same movements. Arm moves up, down, palm up, palm down. Palm faces the wall. faces away from the wall. You could even do something like circles. You could mimic a movement you normally do, like tennis or golf. But again, just keeping that ball pinned to the wall. And then maybe you start to move that body around. So some circles, up, down, side, side, same kinds of things you did when you had it on the shoulder itself. If you need to support this right arm a little bit, you can do that. If it's starting to get tired moving around, it can happen. And then maybe again, you just find a spot where it makes sense to pin that ball and just be still. And you breathe. All right, let's go ahead and find our second shoulder. So right there on the bulk of the shoulder, left side, we'll pin that in there. And then the arm starts to move. Palm up, palm down, palm faces the wall, palm faces away from the wall. Very common to have one side feel very different from the other side. So if that's happening, then you're normal. And if it's not happening, you're also normal. Not everybody has a very different than one side from one side to the other. And some people it's really different. So everybody has their own body. And of course, that's why we always just check in to make sure we're doing what's appropriate for our own body. Everything I'm saying is just a suggestion. If you really tune in, you'll know exactly what you need. Maybe that's movement, maybe that's stillness, maybe that's putting a ball in a slightly different location. And we can move up and down, side to side, letting that arm just dangle down, or you could support that arm. Just take a hold of that wrist with the other hand. Just kind of bend and straighten the legs or move side to side. All right, so let's go ahead and find the back side of that armpit. So find the armpit, slide it to the back. This spot is usually a little bit tender. So if that it is, then you probably found the right spot. Up and down with that arm, palm up, palm down. Palm faces the wall, faces away from the wall. Again, you can make some little circles. Maybe you're mimicking some kind of movement that you do a lot. Maybe it's swinging a racket, swinging a golf club. Who knows? Swimming kind of motion. And you can start to move your body around, side to side, up and down. And of course, you could just pin that ball in there and take some deep breaths. All right, it's good. Okay, so we're gonna make your way back to your mat. You're gonna want your Pilates ball, and some of you might decide you need a block as well. So I will show you what we're doing. The ball is going to be on the right side of the chest. So we're gonna lay on our bellies, and the ball is on the shoulder and on the chest. You're going to put your right hand on the ground like you were gonna do a push-up, but you're not gonna do a push-up. And then you're going to start to roll your body over. So you're going to be getting a stretch and some pressure on that from that ball on your chest area. It might even be grabbing that tissue, particularly if you have it on your actual skin. So a couple things. If your head is like really uncomfortable, you might want a block underneath your head. Some of you might even actually need a block under that ball to give you enough of a pressure and pull on that chest area. So everybody's different on this one. So you do what you need for you. So you decide. It's not supposed to be as intense, not even close to as intense as it would feel with a yoga tune-up ball underneath there. So it's a stretch and it's a little bit of pressure from that Pilates ball. So play with it a little bit and then settle in and see if you can just let the stretch happen. If you got issues with the shoulder, be gentle. You don't want the intensity. If you have any issues going on right now with the shoulder, nothing more intense than a 5 on a scale of 1 to 10. So really check in. If you don't have any issues with the shoulder, you can push it a little bit more, like to a 7 or so in terms of intensity. Keep breathing. You could try turning your fingers out. That's going to feel different than if they're pointed forward. So maybe come out of it a little bit and then come back in. That's going to feel different than with the palms forward. So this is intentionally stretching the chest and the front of the shoulder. So if that's what you're feeling, that's great. If you're feeling mostly in the back, be very careful. Maybe you don't step that top leg over. Maybe it stays in front of you. I don't want this to be so twisty in the back that it becomes more of a back rotation than a chest and shoulder stretch. So check in. Sometimes you need to do a little pelvic tilt tuck. So that might mean you've got to just do a little bit more support for the back, whatever you need to do to keep this stretch where it belongs. Let's take a couple more breaths. Okay. So sorry to make your way out of that, but we're going to keep the ball where it is. And you can either support your forehead with a block or maybe just the back of your hand. You just move that arm forward and backwards. So it's like a snow angel on your belly. And that ball, again, especially if you've got it touching your skin. So you'll feel it a little bit through a shirt, but if it is actually on your skin, you're going to feel how it grabs that tissue and gives you a nice superficial layer of fascia release. The next time your hand comes back, if your shoulder allows it, put the hand behind your back and let the elbow drop forward, internally rotating that shoulder. So the hand is on the back, palm up, elbow drops down. Maybe some of you, it needs to be closer to your booty, not on the lower back. So if you get shoulder issues, maybe it's closer to your butt versus the lower back. So just check in, make sure it's a level of intensity that's appropriate for you. Keep breathing. And again, all the while, some tugging on the skin, superficial layers of the fascia on that right chest and shoulder area. One more breath. And then we'll very carefully take the hand off the back or the booty, wherever it was, and come off of our belly. We're going to move through a few cat-cows just to get some movement through our back. Sometimes laying on the belly can make the back grumpy. So rounding the spine, tucking the chin, pressing into those hands. And then when you lengthen and pull the heart forward, make sure you're not dumping into the back. You really want to feel a stretch in the belly. And then we tuck and round, pull the belly in and press into those hands, really rounding out that lower back. And then we lift and we lengthen and pull the heart forward. Okay. So we're going to go to our second side. The ball will go on the left side of the chest. And remember, maybe a block could be nice for your forehead, or if you need this higher, you can put a block underneath it. If your ball is pretty small, maybe it will not be tall enough for you to get something out of this. So you'll have to see. So try the push-up position with the hand first. The hands are basically forward, fingers are forward. And then maybe you've got some support for your forehead or the side of your head as you make your way onto your side. Perhaps you step that top leg behind you. If your back doesn't like that, then of course don't do that. And then really check in. Give yourself the intensity that's appropriate for you. So if at all possible, I always recommend that the ball be as close to your skin as possible. Touching would be better. The Pilates ball grabs the tissue on your chest if you're allowing it to touch the actual skin. You're still getting the pressure and using the ball to help get you into a deeper stretch here, even if it's not touching your skin, or if you happen to be using a pillow or a bolster instead. Just a little benefit from that grippiness of the ball on your actual skin. So you could try, I would roll out of it a little bit, but try fingers pointing to the side. That will feel different. So see what you think. Maybe it's for you, maybe it's not. And maybe that changes how deep you can come into this. Maybe it doesn't. Check in with your back. If you're feeling it in your back, a little pelvic tilt might help. Maybe you don't step that top leg behind you. Couple more big breaths. And after the next breath, we'll start to make our way out of that, keeping that ball underneath the left side of your chest. I like to support my forehead with my hand, or maybe it's a block or a pillow, moving that arm like a snow angel on your belly. And again, your range is what it is. Doesn't mean you're going to be able to go all the way up and down. The next time you bring that arm back, slide it behind your back. Or again, maybe it's on your booty. Palm is up, and then you're going to drop that elbow towards the earth. Internal rotation stretch of that shoulder. Couple more breaths. And carefully release the arm. And then we'll be putting both hands on the ground like you were going to do a push-up, and you're going to let that ball travel from one shoulder to the other shoulder. So you're moving back and forth. Again, if by any chance you don't have the ball, this is not going to work. You'll just pause with a little bit of breath. in one spot, then you'll move if it's a pillow or a bolster. Otherwise, you're moving back and forth here. All right, good. So we'll come off of that and we're going to come back to hands and knees, but then put the forearms down. So it's cat cows on the forearms. So we'll round that spine, tuck the chin, and then lift and lengthen and pull the heart forward. And again, we tuck and round and lift and lengthen and tuck and round. And we lift and lengthen. And one more time, tuck and round. And we lift and lengthen. All right, very good. Okay, so we are going to take our single Pilates ball again, and it's going to go underneath your right glute. So we're going to go ahead and move to our lower body a little bit now. So lift your booty, slide that ball underneath your right glute, right in the center, and then step your feet as wide as your mat. So you'll start with just the right knee going out and in. If that doesn't feel like enough, you could go both. So both knees could fall to the right and then point towards the ceiling. So one or both, you decide what you need. Good. And then move the ball to the right so it's more on the outer glute. So again, right knee, you can start with just that right knee going out and in, and then maybe it ends up being both. So it's on the side of your glute, still on your body, but definitely to the outer part of your right glute. Letting the knees fall to the right or one knee, and then point towards the ceiling. And then move the ball up so it's still on the outer glute, but up high, closer to your hip bone. Same thing, knee out and in, out and in. Or maybe it's both knees. Good. Couple more times. Okay. So we're going to move the ball up and it's going to go on your quadratus lumborum. So we'll find the spine and then move it at least an inch, maybe 2 inches to the right of your spine. So it's going to be somewhere in between your hip bone and your rib cage. Everybody's different in terms of where they need this, but find a place, see what you think. If it's too much, move it up or down or more lateral, that means more to the outside, or whatever you need to do. Sometimes using a double ball will distribute it a little more. So you put two balls inside one tote if you need a little less. We're going to go ahead and let the knees separate their feet and let the knees fall to the right. And we're just going to stay there and see what we think. Okay, if that doesn't feel like it's doing enough for you, try crossing the right ankle over the left thigh and then dipping those knees a bit to the right. So it's not intended to be crazy intense. If it is, then I'd move the ball a little bit. We want to get in here, but we want it to kind of gradually build up in terms of intensity. We don't want it to be so intense right off the bat. This part of our back will oftentimes lock up if we go too intense too fast. If you want to move in and out of this, you can. And again, either the ankle is crossed or maybe, again, feet are separate and you're letting those knees fall to the right and then point towards the ceiling, to the right, point towards the ceiling. So find what seems to be working for you. And if nothing is working, try keep exploring. Move the ball up, move it down, move it to the right, move it to the left a little bit. And this dip to the right, it's not very big. It's not supposed to be a spinal rotation. Couple more times. Good. And then finding center, I'm bringing your right knee towards your chest and then drawing some circles. So maybe you grab that knee, or if you can't catch the knee, maybe you're holding the back of the leg, but you're drawing some circles. You'll notice as you pull the knee closer to you, it does increase the intensity of the pressure behind you. Make sure you go both ways. As it goes away from you, the intensity decreases a little. Couple more times this direction. All right, good. Let's go ahead and remove the ball. Step your feet wide and windshield wiper the knees back and forth. Nice and slow. Couple more times. And then we'll move the ball to the left glute. So once again, step your feet wide, right in the center of the glute. One or both knees go to the left and then point towards the ceiling, to the left, point towards the ceiling. Good. And then moving the ball to the left a little bit on the outer glute now. So the knee or knees go to the left and point towards the ceiling, to the left, to the ceiling. And then let's move the ball up. So it's still on the outer glute, but higher, closer to the hip bone. One or both knees to the left, to the ceiling, to the left, to the ceiling. Couple more times. All right. So we're back to the QL, quadratus lumborum. So find your spine and then take it to the left of the spine. So it's not on your spine, definitely to the left, somewhere in between your hip bone and your rib cage. And then you'll take your feet either wide on your mat and same kind of thing, knees go left and point towards the ceiling. Some of you might cross that left ankle over your right thigh, and you could even just simply pause. I like to pause and breathe and then start to move again. So that's what works for me. Maybe that's what works for you. So I'm just dipping the knees a little bit to the left, and then I'm staying and I'm really focusing on my breath, tuning in, finding an intensity that's appropriate for me today. And that's different every single day. So it's Really important to tune in and see what your body needs today. If you're still, maybe you start to move a little bit. And then if that ankle is crossed, uncross it. Start to bring your left knee towards your chest. Maybe grab the knee or behind the leg, drawing some circles. Nice and slow. And go the other way. And then we'll put the foot down. Go ahead and take the ball out. Step the feet wide again. Knees rock left to right. And then rolling to the side to make your way up to sit. For this next one, I'm going to give you a few options. Some of you might like support from a wall. Some of you might like to sit on a block. Some of you won't need any of that. So I'll show you the shape and then you will make your decision. So your left leg is bent like a butterfly and your right leg is out like a straddle. So we're going to eventually be leaning over here to the right. If you find yourself really slouchy like this, it's very possible that you need to sit on a block or a bolster or something to keep your spine long. If you don't have one available and you're still finding yourself kind of slouchy, a wall to support your back might be nice. So you decide what you need for your body. And then I'm going to use a block here. If you don't have one, then of course you don't get to use one. So I'm going to be putting my elbow on there and I'm going to be leaning. So what we're doing, yes, stuff is happening here. Inner thighs, yes. But what I want to feel is a length through my left side body. So you can put the block on the inside or the outside, whatever feels best for you, as long as you're feeling length through the left side as you lean over to the right leg, which is the extended leg. So this forearm is on there, perhaps, maybe some of you, it's the hand, okay? So forearm or hand, left hand can go up and over the ear if that feels comfortable for you. After a while, that might not work. Hand behind the head might be more appropriate. So make sure you're not rounding forward. You want to be leaning straight over this side. Yes, and some of you might even need your block on a higher setting to make this possible for you. You could even put both hands behind your head. I like to do that. That feels good for me. I'm feeling like I've got a little support underneath me on that block. And then I'm feeling a lot of length through my left side. And then breathing into the length in the side body. So this is getting into that QL, quadratus lumborum, a little bit again, which is an area of many of us that gets locked up if you sit at a desk a lot. If you've been told your middle back thoracic spine is locked up, this area is probably really tight. So just get into it gently, slowly. Hopefully, as you stay a little bit, it gets a little softer, a little bit more mobile. Just keep breathing, keep thinking of length. I'm in no way dumping to the right. I'm lengthening through the left. Big breaths in and out. Really try to ground through the left sit bone. It's probably trying to come up, so try to keep it grounded. Let's take 3 more big breaths. Okay. And we'll start to slowly make our way up and out of that. And then just sitting for a moment to regroup. Eventually, we'll switch sides. Again, do what you need to do to make sure that you are able to keep that long spine, no slouching. Maybe you're supported by a wall. Maybe you're sitting on a block. Block can be on the side or on its tallest setting, whatever you need. Forearm, elbow can come on there. Top arm can come up and over the ear. You could bend that elbow. That's what I like. And I actually like to put both hands behind my head. That's my favorite position. That's what works for me. Does not mean that's what's going to be best for you. I feel like I can keep my chest open and really come from the side if I do that. Otherwise, I'm tempted to like round and slouch this way. Really important to keep the side body the main focus here. Doing our best to keep the chest wide open, no rounding, no dumping to the left, just lengthening on the right. 5 more big breaths. Very slowly make your way up and out. All right. So we're going to use our double ball inside the tote now for our last little bit. Our favorite, I think most of us, our favorite, the neck release. You're going to lay the balls on top of your block, and then the balls will go in the middle of your neck. So not at the base of the skull yet. So get it situated so you're not going to fall off the block. Make sure it's the balls that are in the middle of your neck, not the edge of the block. And let's just lay those arms down to your sides before we do any movement and just let gravity do the work for us here. Take a couple of really big breaths in and out. And start to turn your head right to left. Like, no, no more stress, no more pain, no more tension. And then nodding your head like, yes, yes, I'm softening. Yes, I'm doing the work I need to let go. Yes, I'm inviting in healing. And turning your head to the right and then nodding your head, yes. So the head is off to the right, and then you nod your head. And let's try the other side. Head goes left, and then nod your head yes. And then let's take the balls to the base of the skull. So I'm just going to move my body a little down, and then my chin tucks a bit towards my chest. So ideally what you're feeling is a bit of gentle traction. So some direct pressure on the base of the skull, and then a little traction as that chin tucks down towards your chest. And I am just going to be still here. If you feel like you want to move, you can move side, side, up, down, the diagonal kind of movement. I just like the traction feeling for myself. So that's what I'm going to do. And you do you. 5 deep breaths, whatever you're choosing. Softening, letting go. After your 5th breath, just simply remove the balls and the block and finding your Shavasana, whatever that looks like for you. Maybe it's traditional legs out, arms out. If your back is more comfortable with bent knees, that's also fine. Just as long as it's something that feels relaxing and very comfortable for you. And then take your biggest breath and hold that breath for 4, 3, 2, 1. Open your mouth and let it go. And you just rest as long as you'd like now. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste, my friends.